Welcome to Crafty Hints. I'm Chantel. I am so ready for spring. I'm breaking out my tiered tray and going to make some items today to decorate it. I'm starting with that grace fence. We'll just take a medium-sized popsicle stick and clip the ends to a point. Just do that on all 4 popsicle sticks. Then we'll want to make them even. So I'll just kind of mark where I want it and then cut each of those. Next, we'll just be painting those with some Waverly chalk paint. I chose ivory. I really do like the ivory because it's not such a stark white and it's not a super creamy white. I think it works well. And just add a little bit of hot glue and we'll stick this fence together. I also took 2 Jenga blocks or tumbling tower blocks and painted those white when I was painting. Next, I took a regular size popsicle stick, clipped it down to add some support to the back of the fence, and painted those as well. Oh, fingerprint, fix that quick. All right, a little bit of hot glue. And I'm just going to set this on top of those Jenga blocks. Now to give it a little bit more stability, I'll put a little bit of hot glue in front and a little bit in the back. Next, I want to make grass around this fence. So I found this grass, it's called Excelsior. It's in the floral area of the Dollar Tree. And it really looks like grass to me. So I just layer it on, layer a little bit more glue. You could leave those tumbling tower blocks brown or even paint them green. I wasn't sure if I was just going to put the grass on one side, but I decided to just go all the way around. So you wouldn't really need to paint those white. Just want to make sure that it is fully covered so you can't really see that white through there. And once it is fully covered the way that you want it covered, you just want to, I guess, kind of mow the lawn, so to speak. We'll just trim this up so the grass looks nice and neat all the way around the fence, just with a pair of scissors. Next, I took some florals from the Dollar Tree and just snipped those off. Oh, if you get a little bit of glue blobs on the back of your fence, I used my heat gun, I should say, and just heated that up and took off some of those. You could use your hairdryer as well. Now pop in those flowers just to make it so that they're growing along the fence. Really pretty simple. You're just making this your own. And just keep adding those in until it looks the way you want it to. Next, I took some of these rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree. I suggest leaving that back paper on it, as when I did it, it did scratch that G just a little bit. So you want to leave that back paper on to protect it until you fully get it cut out. So then you just rub it on and peel it off. And I did take just a gel pen to go back over that G for where it was scratched a little bit. And it was as simple as that. And here it is on the bottom of this tiered tray. Just a little bit of spring. All right, project number 2. We're going to make that bunny you just saw. I thought a cute little bunny jar would work nicely. I just took this little ornament from the Dollar Tree and pulled the wire out of the top. And just add a little bit of wood filler for where it pulled a little bit of that ceramic out. Okay, and then just sanded that just a little bit to try and make it smooth. Did realize it might need a little bit more. Next, I want to glue it on there. Remember to do the Gorilla Glue or your E6000 first, as it doesn't dry as quickly. I started to put my hot glue. Actually, it's a low temp glue gun, so it does cool quickly. And so then I paused and remembered to use the other glue first. And then I used a low temp glue gun. And you don't really want to mix the glues. The Gorilla Glue will give it that permanent hold, and the hot glue gives you that quick temporary hold, so it holds on while we move on and continue with our project. So I used this, oh goodness, I think it was called Pool, something like that. It's a light blue in the Waverly chalk paint. And I did need to give that a few coats. You might even want to use some spackling or, some of your Gorilla or E6000 around the edge between the bunny and the lid if you don't want to see any separation. So if this were a bigger jar, I think it would be more important to do this, but I just cut down a toilet paper tube and thought, oh, I'll put this in the middle, then you don't have to put as many in. But I just filled up the jar. And there we are. I think it's a nice accent to our tray. All right, our next item will be something that sits on the top of our tier tray. Project 3. So I took those signs and I'm going to use a bunny, but I want to show you that the tumbling tower blocks come in this really long set or this short little set. In the one set, you get double the blocks. It looks like the other blocks are just a hair smaller. Not noticeable though. So I just popped this little bunny off of the wooden sign from the Dollar Tree. All of our items today are from the Dollar Tree. And you just want to make sure to get this all off of here so that I can flip them over so that they're facing each other. Next, I took some wax. You could use a Waverly wax or whichever one you have. It just took a little bit of the shine off. Next, I took the Truffle and I took that on the makeup sponge and I went around the edges to give it almost a little bit of a rust or an aged appearance. I do think it worked better when I patted it on there as opposed to rubbing it on there. Now I'm just making a little bow for the girl bunny. So this is just a little bit of lace from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to take some jute twine and just take it around in a circle. Well, a half circle, I guess, kind of. And I take that around one side, and then I'm just going to flip the ends through that circle. That just gives you a little bit of a slip knot. It makes it easy to get it on there, and then you've got it on there twice. Now, that would be perfect if you wanted to leave it like that and have tails for your bow. I decided to wrap it around a few times, and I actually end up deciding not to keep any tails on this bow. As I always say though, make it the way you want. I just decided that it really didn't need a tail, so after I wrapped this around and was positioning it, I clipped them off. And there we are. We just snipped those back off, glued that bow on, and now the bunnies need something around their neck. So I grabbed this ribbon. I got that at like 90% off after Christmas sale at Michael's. So that is a one thing, not from the Dollar Tree, but there's very similar ribbons out there. So just make it the way it will fit your decor best. I do hope that you're enjoying these videos so far and that you'll join me in the future by subscribing. If you hit that bell, it will notify you anytime I upload a new video. So I highly suggest you do that if you've been enjoying this video. I also hope that you'll give it a thumbs up and help my channel out. I'm really trying to grow this channel, so anything that you do will definitely help me out, as well as a comment below. Oh, I think these bunnies are turning out so cute. I took another tumbling tower block, and I'm just taking my X-Acto knife to score this. I just want them to sit down in that slot a little bit. The first one seemed to, I don't know if it was the hardest Jenga block ever, but it just seemed to take a lot more work than the second one did. But I put a little bit of hot glue in there and then put some on the front and back to hold it there. And then I did the same thing on the other Jenga block, and that one was so much easier. Just running it across a couple different times and then just kind of wiggling that blade in there to pop a little bit of that wood out. It is pretty simple. But I think these bunnies have just a little bit of a rustic touch to them that they are the perfect topper for the top of my tiered tray. And it would hold, I think, all on its own, but just to make sure, I'll give it a little bit of hot glue. And then we'll do just the same as we did on the other one, a little bit in the front, a little bit in the back. And they stay there nice and sturdy. And here they are. It almost looks like they're kissing. They're so cute. I love them. Now that's something we might discard off of those signs. I do want to invite you to watch this thrift store flip collab. Sandra from the Schwoen's Nest invited me, along with these other lovely ladies, to collab in a thrift store flip. So we took items that we found at a thrift store and gave them a new life. So it might inspire you to redo something you have in your home or something that you see at a thrift store. You never know what it'll inspire. Join us. And that will be this next Tuesday, March 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern. And that leads us to our final project. Thank you so much if you've watched all of these. I hope you enjoyed this last one. I took these jumbo popsicle sticks. You need 2 of them. And basically you will just cut it in half, and then you'll cut another one in half and just make sure they all line up so that you can make a little sign. I took that same ivory Waverly chalk paint and just gave it a nice coating. I want to show you, you might need to use a popsicle stick just so it doesn't slide around on your surface. Now a little bit of hot glue. I did use a low temp so that I could, keep my fingers on it and make sure I get them in place. But they weren't quite as easy as a medium size. So just giving a little bit of glue in between the pieces of wood, and then I'll just go back and put a little bit more on the back to make sure it's secure, because as you can see, it's not the strongest. It's a little wiggly, and we want it to look, like Shiplap, so that was the idea behind this sign. This round I tried not to use my Cricut So I wanted to go another round, and that's why I had chosen to do the transfer in the other video, and then we'll do the rub-on transfer in this one as well. All right, I took a popsicle stick, just a regular size one, and I'm adding this to the back for a little bit more stability. Now, as you can see, we have a little bit of bumps of glue. So once this is complete, I'll go back with either my heat gun or my hair dryer and go back over there and smooth it out. You can use another popsicle stick or your finger. And I just took my sanding block and gave this a good once over. That will get rid of any of the glue bumps on the front. And then I got this leaf ribbon, gosh, a little while back. I think it was at Hobby Lobby. Maybe it was a Dollar Tree. I've had it laying around. But I thought it would make a cute little garland, or a wreath, I guess, actually. It'd make a cute little wreath to go at the top of this. Originally thought I was going to use that other little garland as some berries on this, and I just decided that less was more, I guess, and just decided to go with the leaves. So you're just taking that around in a circle, give it a little twist and a little bit of glue. And I just glued a couple of those leaves to try and make it a little bit more even. And a little bit of glue on there. And our garland is on our sign. Next, I'm going to take those rub-on transfers I was talking about, and I'm just going to put it at the bottom. So this time I did leave the paper on the back so that it didn't end up getting scratched. Then you peel off that paper, put it down, use a little craft stick, popsicle stick, rub it on there, and then just take the clear top off. And that's it. It's pretty simple. I just put a tumbling tower block behind it so that it would stand up on our tiered tray. It makes for a pretty easy little piece for our tiered tray. Isn't that sweet? So these are a couple things that will hopefully make your tiered tray a little springy as well as work for Easter. I thought that the Gather and the Grace were good for all around. Thank you so much. I do hope you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and maybe share with a friend or two that you think might like this as well. Have a great day, and thank you.